The Ironjawz are back and they are ready to crump some gits. Welcome to War Games on Toast, all of you lovely people. It's me, it's Toast. How are you this wonderful Wednesday? Warcry received a ginormous FAQ at the end of September that added in whole new factions, a whole bunch of points changes, and also altered some factions in some pretty darn significant ways. The big one being Ironjawz, who are now almost unrecognizable with their changes. I am really excited to talk about them because there's some really good changes here. But before we get into all that, it's time for a little bit of shilling.
I am shocked. Shocked. Well, not that shocked.
Please consider leaving a like, a comment, and subscribing, as that helps me fight against the dastardly YouTube algorithmic demon. And if you want to help in a more tangible way, then please consider signing up to my YouTube members or my Patreon, like all of these wonderful people on screen now. Badoosh. And if you don't want to dedicate yourself to a monthly subscription but still want to help the channel out, then feel free to throw me a coffee. But with all of that out of the way, let's get on with the show.
And now for something completely different.
So, Ironjawz, a whole lot has changed with Ironjawz. Firstly, finally, after like 2 years, Duff Up the Big Thing now actually works as intended. Woohoo, who would have thought, right? In addition, a whole bunch of stuff have been removed. Ard boys bosses, Ard boys with choppers, Ard boys with shields, Ard boys with big choppers. They're all gone now. They've been shafted, they've been yeeted from existence. They no longer exist. They have been replaced with better things. Or, in my opinion, I would say better things. Now, before we go on to these units, I just want to say there is a lot of mixed opinions on new Ironjawz. Namely that they have been massively nerfed, and some people have been claiming that they are potentially destroyed or nerfed or just not playable. And I would say that is a knee-jerk reaction that should be ignored. No, the Ironjawz have changed. They are not bad. I think Ironjawz have actually gotten more powerful. That's because a lot has changed and a lot of it is actually positive, but you have to look outside of the box. Think big picture stuff. They are no longer a horde warband. They're just not. You have to think mid-range. They are much more bulky, mid-rangey, and also damaging across the board. But let's start with the Ard boys. We have two. There's the Ard boy with chopper and the Ard boy with sticker. These laddies are like 20 points more expensive than the old Ard boys, but what do you get for those 20 points? You gain more damage. These guys are now 3424 or a 2425 profile, and that's lovely. They retain the Bulwark rune mark, and we will get to learn a little bit. There's also 3 bosses for Ard boys. You have a boss with chopper, a boss with sticker, and the big boss. These guys are all pretty funky. The rune marks is a formatting issue very clearly. For example, this guy, the Ard boy with boss with sticker, does not have the brute rune mark. That's fucking stupid. He's supposed to have the Bulwark rune mark. And this little banner, he ain't supposed to have that. That's supposed to be down here on the big boss. So, formatting issues aside, okay, they have royally fucked up formatting, but this will get changed eventually. The Ard boy boss with sticker is not a brute. He does not have the brute rune mark. He has the Bulwark rune mark, and he does not have the little banner icon. That is the Ard boy big boss. That is definitely how it's supposed to be. They've just fucked up, okay? It's sad, but we have to deal with that, right? Don't go rules as written. That's not how it's going to be. Nobody in their right mind would ever play it that way and have any kind of respect. It's ridiculous. However, let's get on with the things. So the Ard boy bosses are actually worse than the old Ard boy bosses. They have less strength is the big kicker, but they're still good. 145 points or 140 points for the sticker is solid. 4424, 20 wounds, toughness 5 is great. 3424 is wrong, actually 25, I am positive, because this sticker over here has 5. So another issue. The Ard boy boss with sticker is basically broken. Nothing here is right. His crit is wrong, and he has the wrong fecking rune marks. So my suggestion here is to just not use this guy until he's fecking fixed, because you'll be gimping yourself, you'll be shooting yourself in the foot if you take him, because everything's fecking wrong. He should be crit 5, his rune marks should be fixed. But assuming he is crit 5 and his rune marks are fixed, for 140 points, that is very solid. The big boss is going to be the guy who I think is going to have the most people torn. I think, and torn's a good word for this guy. The Ardboy Big Boss is 175 points. That's really expensive. 4524 or 3525 at a 2-inch range. This guy has basically got a chopper, and he's got a spear, and he's also still toughness 5, and he's got +5 wounds. Guy is a jack of all trades. Now, you might look at those offensive stats and go, damn, that guy is really expensive for the damage that he's not going to be doing. You are correct. However, when you look at here, right, Ardboys are more expensive. Ardboy bosses are more expensive. The Ardboy Big Boss is really expensive. But this all looks bad. You have to look at this in a way that the Ardboy Big Boss is not a combat character. The Ardboy Big Boss is a support character, and when you look at him from that light, he makes sense. He is the same price, roughly, I believe, as the War Chanter, right? Another support piece. A fairly burly, decently killy-ish support character, and the Ardboy Big Boss fits that bill, as does the Ardboy Boss with Sticker and Chopper, and so do the Ardboys, who become incredibly tanky and damaging when we look at their ability, which I'm going to look at right now because it's really important to round this all out. Shield Smash. What an ability. This instantly fixes all of my initial concerns with Ironjawz, because Shield Smash is outstanding in a way that I think a lot of people aren't quite looking at. So, Shield Bash. Pick an enemy fighter within 1 inch. Okay, easy. That target moves 3 inches directly away from this fighter as if they were jumping. In addition, if this fighter is within 6 inches of a friendly fighter with the Ironjawz and Icon Bearer rune mark, allocate a number of damage points to the target equal to the value of this ability. So, this is an ability of 2 halves. This bit right here is the bit that I really, really like. Why is this so good? Displacement is always powerful, right? Pulls in Warcry are incredibly powerful and generally kind of restricted to chaos for the most part. There are some here and there, but they're largely chaos. Displacement is great. Shield Smash is possibly the best displacement in the game because it is not a pull, it is a push. And pushes are next level powerful. This could be, I think this is the only push in Warcry right now. And how this works is basically Shield Bash turns all of your Ardboys into absolute tanks. The reason for that is your Ardboys, they ain't getting the combat. You ain't trying to do that, okay? You get your Ardboys, you plonk them onto an objective, right? Objective, boop, plonk them down. That's how you do it. Then you'll get your opponent goes, damn, I want that objective. I'm gonna go kill your dude. So they send their dudes in and go bap, 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 and start smacking your dudes, okay? But they've moved in. In most cases, this means that they don't get attacked twice, they get attacked once, in most cases. Then what you do is you go, damn, you hit us, but I'm also T5, 15 wounds, I'm likely alive. I'm going to swing at you 6 times with my 2-4 profile. Chunky, probably, right? 6 attacks. Okay, against most things, you're doing at least 6 damage, right? And then, my friend, you're getting shield bashed off this point. So you stand on the objective and you go boomf, and you knock them off the objective. It's wonderful. And why this is so good is because it really opens up Ironjawz in a way that is unexpected, right? Ironjawz were already great against hordes. They had you messing on their brutes, right? Against hordes, they could go, I don't give a shit. I'm going to stand here and go, rah, and then your guys don't count. This is my objective now. Shield Smash is that, but for elites, right? Ironjawz can now really mess with elites and other mid-range because they go onto your points, you knock them right back off. That's it. That's the power of it. And it's unbelievably strong. If you're against like Stormcast, like the new Reclusion stuff, those guys come to fight you, they're not going to kill you straight out off the bat. You're too barely to die off just like one attack action, right? So they go on your objective, you smack them off. And that's it. You make it harder for them to take your objectives. You keep on displacing them that 3 inches, and you want to annoy people a lot. It's a really solid ability. And then when you combine this with the Big Boss, and I'm not going to say the Big Boss is a must take. He is very good though. With the Big Boss, now you're doing flat damage to boot. So now you're doing your 6 attacks, bap, 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 and then you're going smash and landing this killer blow and launching them 3 inches back and doing up to 6 damage in addition. It's kind of insane. It's really, really good. Pushes require some setup, like pulls, but for the most part, the setup is a lot easier to pull off. It's much easier to push someone roughly in the location you want, because it's just away from you, than pull someone in the direct place you want to be, which is towards one of your allies to smack. And of course, you can use the push to knock things into your allies too. You could like smack 6 times, shield bash, do 6 damage, launch them into a brute, the brute rips them in half. There's all kinds of fun plays with this. You can knock people off, you can punt people off of platforms onto dangerous terrain. There's all kinds of weird little plays with this. And it's a triple, it's expensive, but Ironjawz have a lot of really strong triples now, and this makes them a unreal toolbox to play with. Yumessin, Wah, Shield Smash, all 3 of these abilities are things you'll use like one of these once per turn, and it's up to you to figure out which one is the best for that scenario, and you threaten all of them at all times. You could either go your whole warband could suddenly just launch up the board. An objective could become completely untakeable by chaff. This objective could be much harder to take with Elite because you want a shield bash, right? You have to threaten all this at the same time, and it's such a great toolbox to be in, especially when you still consider that now Ironjawz are so much better at being all-in faction because their battle trait is outstanding. You are now much better at dealing with elites because of Shield Smash, and you are amazing at dealing with hordes because you shut down their weights, and you still have your messing. So good. I can't express enough how much I love this direction for Ironjawz. They aren't just a Smash faction now. They have effortlessly transitioned into a mid-range control faction. And I love that direction. It's so, so cool. And again, I'm going to say, I think Ironjawz are stronger now than they were before, even with their chaff and their cheap bosses being nerfed, right? They've become more expensive. They've also become better in many, many ways. And a final thing to note, the Ard Boy Big Boss, if he shield bashes, he always gets this second bit as well. So the Ard Boy Big Boss is actually very, very good at dealing damage because he has more attacks at strength 5. So he goes in with 8 attacks this time in 1 inch range, and he does more damage and then shield bashes and guarantees that big burst of shield bash damage. It's super, super good. But then we have some more toys to play with. And finally, we gain access to Brute Ragers and Brute Wreckers, and I love them both. Big thing to note, despite being called Brutes, these guys do not have the Brute rune mark, and that has some things, as in they do not get to use Yumessin, and they do not get to use Duff Up the Big Thing. Really important to remember that. They do have their own toys though. The Brute Rager is wonderful. For 145 points, this guy is cheap as chips. For a range 2 attacks, strength 6, 3-5 damage. That's great. What you're going to do here is give him +1 attack every time. So he goes to a 3-6 to 3-5 for 175 points. And that is in line with other brutes with this attack. There are a lot of brutes in Warcry. The Brute Rager with +1 attack goes in line with other brutes of his offensive profile. The benefits of the Brute Rager are that he has that movement 4, which is really, really nice to have. He is a much more aggressive brute. He's not there to hold objectives, he's there to kill things. And he does that very well because of his ability, you ain't that big. This guy's a bit of an assassin, right? So you ain't that big, and the following apply to this fighter's next melee attack action. If the target has a higher wounds characteristic than this fighter or has the hero rune mark. So most things that you want to kill with a big guy, this guy does. You gain +2 attacks and you crit on a 5+. That's really solid, right? You run up your 4 inches with your 2-inch range, you get 5 attacks, because you've got the blessing, right? You get your 5 attacks, you crit on 5+, and you're going to do a big honking chunk of damage, and you have 25 wounds yourself, so you can take a lot of damage yourself, and even without this buff, just popping an onslaught and just standing in a clump of guys and just swinging away, you'll just cleave through things, right? This guy is a really interesting pick. Is he better than a regular brute? I don't know, honestly. Losing out on your messing is a big deal, but gaining in movement and this really fun ability, I genuinely like him a lot. But I vastly prefer the Brute Wrecker. This guy is so fun. Range 3 is outstanding. Movement 4, again, really fast for Ironjawz. 6 attacks, strength 4, 2 damage. What a wonderful profile. Let's go over the risks. The risks right off the bat. 6 attacks at strength 4 means people are going to counter you an awful lot and you will likely kill yourself eventually doing this. It's offset by 25 wounds. You can also offset this by giving him +1 strength to go to 6-5-2-2, and that's quite nice as well. I love this guy. He's a chaff blender. I have used him twice against a more horde-y warband, and he has done unbelievable work. Turn 1, I use WA, and I launch this guy right up the board and get him into their turn 2 deployment. Just standing in their turn 2 deployment with this big 3-inch bubble covering the whole thing. And now everybody, because that big 3-inch bubble, is in danger. And you have a lot of attacks and you're going to do a lot of damage because 2-2 is just reliable. The final piece of this puzzle is Berserk Whirlwind, which is stupid. I'm going to say it's stupid, right? I haven't seen enough people talk about this. This is actually insane. Allocate a number of damage points equal to half the value of this ability, rounding up, to every visible enemy within 3 inches. Why is this unbelievably good? It is the best version of this ability in the game. It's simple as that. You have AoE abilities like this with either shorter ranges or you have to roll dice, right? On 4+, you do whatever damage, right? These abilities are everywhere. None of them are 3 inches guaranteed damage on a double, right? That's crazy good. There are so many AoE abilities that just do not compare to Berserk Whirlwind. It is ludicrously strong. There are quads. There are quads in the game that are as strong as this or actually potentially worse than this. It's crazy how good Berserk Whirlwind is as an ability on a double. It doesn't sound like much. It's just up to 3 damage. It's up to 3 damage on a double guaranteed in a big AoE. It's crazy good, especially when you have a blender, like a chaff blending machine already, right? So what you do is you run in, big things, you attack one guy 6 times. Okay, this is chaff. You want to hopefully do enough damage to take them down to, let's say, 2-3 wounds left. You then ignore him and you attack a second guy and do the same thing. And then you Berserk Whirlwind and you kill them both. And this is surprisingly reliable. I've done this a few times now. You'll either kill 2 guys or you'll kill 1 guy, heavily wound another, and then chip another at the back, or multiple guys at the back. It's so good. You just Berserk with woof, swing your little flails around, smack a bunch of guys. It's so good. The Brute Wrecker is an absolute beast. For 195 points blessed, he is quite expensive. But he is such a fun utility piece. He's very okay against mid-range. Like 12 wound, 15 wound guys, he's kind of okay. Against elites, he ain't doing enough damage. So that's the risk you take, right? The Wrecker doesn't do enough damage against elites, honestly, to be that great. But 3-inch range still helps there. You can still stand at the back behind your walls of shield guys and just start swinging away. And of course, flat damage is always good. So he's always decent, but he is situationally outstanding. If you can get this guy into a deployment zone turn 2, oh my god, it's beautiful. It is beautiful. I love it more than I love my children. I'll tell you that right now. But that's the Ironjawz, right? That's super quick. That's the Ironjawz. I am a huge fan of the Ironjawz. I'm going to throw up their battle trait right now. This way. Badoosh. Their battle trait's fantastic as well, right? This hasn't changed at all. It's one of the strongest battle traits in the game. This battle trait basically removes the wait action from the game. Not for you, though. Woo! For everyone else. Because if they dare react, if they dare wait, you get to move. And that's always fun. So they're super control based, right? Like everything here, apart from the Rager, really screams control. Your brutes, your wrecker controls chaff, your big boss and your freaking your hard boys are there smashing people objectives, your messins, your waz. It's so much just good stuff, and it's good. They can't take as many big smashy things because their guys are more expensive. So they have lost some of their like raw kill power. You can't like Girth Demon, Robert Viscomi. He won Nova recently with a double mega boss list. That list is still playable, kind of. You can still take double mega boss, I think, but the list is a lot smaller and it's nowhere near as effective. So the old style of Ironjawz is now gone. A new style of Ironjawz is now in play, and the new style has the potential to be even stronger, which is really, really cool. I'm a huge fan of these changes. I don't think Ironjawz are dead. There's a lot of really fun stuff here, and people need to get their heads out their arse and back and play Ironjawz. There are people who are going to play Ironjawz, and I'm pretty sure they're going to have some unreal levels of success because they're going to dedicate themselves to the new Ironjawz way, and they're going to absolutely wreck face at events, and we will hopefully see that in the next few months when people finally decide that, damn, new Ironjawz, kind of solid, because they are kind of solid, kind of love them.
The spice. He knows about the spice.
But that's it. That's Ironjawz. I love this change. These changes are so good. I've played Ironjawz twice now in person, and they are so much fun. The control aspect is so satisfying. The toolbox, the triple toolbox mentality that Games Workshop are really pushing with a lot of warbands at the minute is so fun just to mess around with. Having so many situationally amazing abilities is so tactically rich and satisfying to use. I can't get enough. I don't play Ironjawz all too often. I like Ironjawz and I love them now. Right, I am all in on Ironjawz. I have had so much fun playing them, more fun than I've ever had playing Ironjawz, because of these what seem to be minor changes, what seem to be potentially nerfs to many people. I just don't see it. I don't feel the nerf. I feel much more powerful playing Ironjawz, but in a completely different way, and I absolutely love it. But you let me know down below what you think of Ironjawz. Am I completely wrong? Do you think they're just completely unplayable now? Do you think they're nerfed, they're worse? Let me know. We'll have a natter down below. It'd be fun times. But until then, lads, ladies, and everybody in between and beyond, ta-ra.
Groovy.
Boy howdy, it's me, it's Toast, and we are here once again with the post-Toast credits. As always, a huge shout out to my algorithmic demon slayers, Armour Enthusiast 7, Andy Morris, CT6497, Girth Demon, The Head Knight of Paint, Heinz D, Long Run Hobbies, Lord Phylax, Sable Saber, Brioche, Steve Bean, The Houston Toad, Tough Tootin' Baby, and Velas. A huge thank you for all of your support, and I will see you all next time.